Hey everybody, welcome back to Matt Kiteboarding. Today we're going to talk to you about the 2023 Slick SLS and also, or more directly I guess, in its comparison to the 2022 Slick SLS. So 2023 Slick versus 2022 Slick SLS. How has that design changed? Why are the constructions different? And what that means for you. So we're going to jump into that today in this video. All right, so this is Tucker, and I have Jeff here with me today. We're just out riding the Slick this morning, the 2023 Slick.
Some pretty extreme conditions.
Yeah, it was wild. It was
snowing,
hailing. Yeah, it was
hard.
25 miles an hour, up and down, nasty conditions. And we've also ridden it a few more times in some more tame conditions, some lighter conditions, some just kind of properly powered normal conditions, and then this morning was just chaos. But
we had a chance to ride the 2023 Slick.
Yes, awesome wing. For those of you who haven't had a chance to ride a Slick or are new to the sport, aren't familiar with the Slick model, it's Duotone's probably most versatile model, I would say.
I agree.
For a beginner to advanced level rider, it's the easy choice for plug and play, ease of use.
Comes with a boom.
Yeah.
Which can be real easy for the...
Doesn't come with the boom.
Yeah, thank you for
You
correcting
need
me.
a boom. You got to add the boom.
You need a boom, and you can share the boom between the wings, but you do need it. Does
yeah,
have
so
the
you
boom.
can use it for all your sizes, one boom. That hasn't changed over the years. If you have a Duotone mini boom, whether it's a silver, a platinum, or a platinum SLS, it's going to fit on all these wings no matter what year and no matter what construction. So that's really cool.
And this morning we were on the SLS, which is the thinner diameter, which I prefer.
The SLS boom.
Boom.
Not to be confused with the SLS Slick Wing.
Sling. Correct.
Can be a little confusing, but yes.
Probably be a good idea to break down the Slicks really quick.
Yeah. So from the beginning of the Slick generation, we had the Slick. That was like a 2021, 2022 model. Then they came out with the Slick SLS. So that is a slight improvement on the design, a slight redesign, but the primary change there was the SLS upgrade in material. So it's stiffer, it's lighter, it's stronger. And then they went to the slit windows at that time as well. The big change there between the Slick and the SLS, I would say, was improvement in the upper end range. It didn't get overpowered as quickly. It gained more forward pulling momentum and upper range as a result. And then moving into now the 2023 Slicks, which when this video releases will be the regular construction with Dacron, but with the Mod 3 canopy. Awesome upgrade there. And they'll also have a D-Lab version, which is the Alula frame with the Mod 3 canopy, and that's kind of the creme de la creme if you want the stiffest, strongest, fastest, lightest.
Yeah, we're going to focus on the difference between the SLS 2022 and the 2023 Slick.
Correct,
version,
yeah.
the
So the
version.
most recent Slick before 2023, which is the SLS, and how that has kind of evolved and how it's changed for 2023. We've ridden the regular. The same is going to hold true for the D-Lab. It's the same design, just with a different frame. So a lot of what we're saying about the regular can be applied to the D-Lab as well, only it's stiffer and it's a little lighter.
Correct.
So very much the same wing, just a slight upgrade in those areas.
I think it's a good, when you say lighter, I felt between the two that the 2023 felt just as light, flying characteristic as the SLS.
Yeah, and I haven't held them both back to back in the same conditions, but I've spent a lot of time on the SLS. And immediately when I grabbed the 2023, it felt lighter to me. Even though it's not an SLS construction.
I said that this morning, my first time on it, and it's not SLS, but it felt just the flying characteristic. Felt very light to the hand and touch.
Yep,
Good.
and that's just in practice. On the scale, it's slightly heavier, a few ounces heavier, which is nothing really to worry about. But in practice, in the way it's designed, it definitely feels lighter. In your hand, which is cool. I would say that's a good thing for most people. It's going to mean it surfs better, it feels lighter, so you're less fatigued, and just easier to handle in general.
And the SLS was my favorite because of its range, the 2022. And it, as it got into the higher winds, it handled it very well.
Definitely.
Now, it maybe took a little bit more to get up on foil and get going initially, and we did a review on that on the 2023 light wind wings that we like. So the 2022 SLS really has a wide range, and when it gets really windy, it definitely handles it very well.
Yeah.
In a little bit of contrast, which you hinted to already just a moment ago, the 2023 Slick, I think it flipped a little bit, meaning it felt like it had a little bit more power out of the gate, but it got a little bit overpowered. So there's a distinct difference that I felt, and you felt it too.
Yeah, definitely. There's more low end. There's more ease of use on the low end, which I think is awesome for new riders or anybody, you know, that wants to go out and just have an easier experience. So I think that's a positive thing, as long as you recognize that it also means you're bringing your upper end down a little bit. So you just have to readjust your range. Rather than buying a 5.5, probably buy a 5.
Half a meter, we thought.
Yeah, half a meter difference for the bigger sizes anyway. You know, we'll say between 4 and 7. You know, maybe a half meter adjustment and I don't know, maybe a quarter meter adjustment or something on the tiny sizes. But definitely more low end. You definitely don't get as much top end. You can't cheat it out as much because it does have more grunt. It's more physical. So when you get overpowered, you do feel it a little bit more. You can't quite, you know, push it as high, I would say.
Like we did this morning.
Yeah, we definitely did it this morning. It was still well behaved,
but
it became more physical.
A little bit more
higher
feedback.
And higher the wind came.
Then I compare it with the SLS. The SLS previous versions seemed to handle that upper end just a little bit better.
Yeah. So it definitely has to do with that grunt, I would say, and part of the redesign of that, and that was part of their goal is
How about
to make the low end of it just
feel? What do you
easier.
think about the surfer feel?
Surfy feels great. I mean, we kind of already talked about the weight and how it feels so light in your hand. The Slick is always a favorite of mine. It's not really built as a surf wing, but I always like it as a surf wing because it's like, we always refer to the Slick as the easy button. You know, like with the boom, you can't miss it. And there's a million ways you can hold it. It doesn't matter how you hold it. It's just so easy. And then in the waves, you know, you can just hold it right at the front and it flags out so nice. You can hold it at the leading edge, it feels so nice. If it's really small or you just need a little extra boost or some leverage to rip some turns, you can kind of hold it in the middle.
And that's what I experienced. I mean, I'm a little behind you in the learning curve, a couple years, and I found the boom to be real forgiving as you make your transitions, turns, and even when you ride your first wave. Like you said, you have a lot of easy spots to hold. You don't have to think about it as much, and it's balanced quite well. When you,
there's a lot of options
hold it with
there.
one hand. I did notice this morning, you know, that my front hand was all the way up.
Me too.
On the boom.
Always.
And you've said your experience has been that, right?
It's a very forward flying wing, and I love that. I love my front hand to be as close to the leading edge as possible. That hinging off the front edge just gives you a lot of control over the power. It really makes it easy to quickly roll into attack or, you know, just to quickly shut it off in a gust or quickly turn it on when you need a little bump. And, you know, it's just that easy handling. Everything's very intuitive with the Slick. I think that's part of its magic, part of why it's so popular, is that it's just that easy, intuitive wing. I think a lot of people even like look past it a little bit because it's such a subtle performance.
Kind of an all-terrain, does it all well.
Yeah, you can shut your brain off. You don't need to think about the wing.
We have the luxury of riding a lot of gear, obviously, so we have the knowledge to share with you. So to be able to compare it against a lot of wings and find that it feels very comfortable and very at home, it kind of just crosses a lot of different wings that are out there.
Yeah.
It kind of puts it all in one.
Yeah, totally. So in terms of the constructions, I mean, we talked about it a little bit. The 2022 SLS, stronger, lighter, stiffer, is, you know, sounds really great on paper. It is really great on the water. It's one of my favorite wings. I mean, it's definitely a contender for me when I'm just gonna, if I had to commit to one wing forever, all riding types, all conditions, that would be, you know, in a top 3 for me for sure. Just works so good for everything, so easy to ride. The construction is solid. Duotone, you know, quality is definitely up there. And, you know, they've made some improvements, I would say, you know, moderate improvements. With the 2023, you are getting a Mod 3 canopy, which is their new canopy that you're going to see on their 2023 wings. It's stiffer. It is longer lasting because it's not going to elongate as much.
That's the claim.
Yeah,
we'll see, but that's.
I mean, it's tested in the laboratory, so it's pretty honest.
It won't bag out as quick.
Yeah, so it won't bag out as quickly. It feels more stiff and direct in your hands. I think we both felt that.
We did.
That's a product of the canopy. That's part of product of the redesign with more grunt. But you know, I'd say that's a positive move for them. Not that I ever had an issue with the SLS. I mean, the frame is so stiff. Their previous canopy with the Trinity techs was already so good. You know, I'd say it's an incremental improvement. In a lot of ways, I like the SLS better. Personally, because there's more forward pulling. You can ride it overpowered a little bit more comfortably.
More drive, a little forward pulling drive versus the new 2023, like you were saying, more mid position drive.
So the SLS is a little bit more racy, a little bit more comfortable overpowered. The 2023 is a little bit easier entry, I would say. It's a little easier to use. On the low end, it's definitely going to help people out. You know, everybody, I think, kind of tends to undersize, especially as new riders. You know, they don't want to ride a big wing, so they go too small. This is going to help them out to get them bumped up and running.
I would agree.
Yeah.
It's also, we'd like to remind you, with any duotone wing, that you have to, it doesn't come with a leash, and it has a special adapter. So anytime
you got to add those to cart.
You got to add those to cart. So you need to have they don't come with a leash, and they have their own inflation system, which is called the, what's the name of that?
Airport valve.
Airport valve.
Yeah, so it's special. It almost looks like a hose end, but not quite. It won't fit. So you definitely have to add that duotone adapter to the cart. The leash, you can use any leash, so you can buy Ozone, F1, PKS, you know, whatever you like, whatever kind of wing you like, you can choose that and put it in there, whether it's a wrist leash or waist leash or a harness line. Whatever it is, you can do that. So on one hand, it's kind of like, it's annoying, you got to add another item to cart. On the other hand, you get to make a choice what kind of leash you want. You don't need to pay for one you're never going to use.
So as we wrap up, the 2023 regular Slick versus the SLS, is there anything we want to add?
Man, I don't know. It'd be a tough choice for me between the two. They're both so good. I do think the SLS does have some, you know, really nice attributes for more experienced riders. That would be
my choice. If I was to say, I would probably a 7. I've said that before, but kind of I really like the feel of it in the lighter wind. The performance, as the wind starts to pick up, you don't get blown off the water with it.
Yeah, you get a little more top end range, and you're firm into your upper intermediate, early advanced stages, so you have the skill to back it up. If you were, you know, a new rider, I would say it's going to be the complete opposite. You want the extra grunt.
I agree.
You want to feel a little lighter weight. Maybe you're going to want to ride a half size smaller, so it's not as cumbersome and easier to handle. So I think there's compelling reasons for both. At the end of the day, if you're already a slick rider, you're going to love the new wing. You're going to love the SLS. They're both just phenomenal wings. They're leaders in the category. And especially if you really don't have like a specific riding style. You're not like, I'm the freestyle guy and nothing else, or I'm the wave guy and nothing else.
Or the racer.
If you're like, dude, I just want to go ride and have fun and get better and not have to buy 3 different 5 meters to ride 3 different ways.
It's a Slick.
Buy the
That's
Slick.
why it's one of the most popular ones we sell here at Matt Kite.
Yep. Let's say something bad about it. We always got to say something bad about it.
The boom. You either love or hate the boom. I'm still in the middle.
I love the boom, especially the SLS. It's so light. The narrower diameter is awesome. But if you're traveling, you're not getting that thing into a normal carry-on, man. It's not going to happen. You're going to have to, like, disguise it as a peg leg or something, walking it onto the plane. Yeah, get your cane on. Get your cane on.
Yep. Well, I would say that's a wrap. This is a good way to end there. The cane, I'm not that old yet. I don't need a cane. But anyways, it's been Jeff here at Matt Kite.
This is Tucker.
If you have any other questions, just hit us up with our chats or emails. Visit us on all our social media. We're here to help and share the stoke.